to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, and welcome to New Life Live. Really glad you're with us here today. It's a big day for me. I've been on, I guess what you would call a little sabbatical for a little while, and I'm back in the saddle again, but it's a new saddle. I'm in a new studio here in the Carmel village of West Clay, and joining me today, two people that I love and admire, Dr. David Stoop and Dr. Jill Hubbard. Hi, guys.
Hey. Welcome,
hi, Steve.
Welcome to the new studio and office.
Yeah, we missed you. Welcome back.
Well,
too.
I missed you. I missed being there, but I know everything was in really, really good hands. And if anybody wants to join us today, it's 1-800-229-3000, 1-800-229-3000. And, of course, Misty and I, just like many of you, we put our kids off to school today for the first time today, and that's always a great experience. Actually, for us, we went swimming all day last year, and this year we're celebrating. So anyway, hope you have a fun day having those kids taken care of. And it really is great that we live in a country where we've got a great education system, and if it's not great, then we can always work to make it better. I have to tell you a story I heard. It was from my church, Northview here. Derek Irving gave the message this past weekend. And it is such an example, one of the greatest stories I've ever heard, an example of who Christ wants us to be. But Eric talked about his son was having some difficulty when he was a teenager, and had really gotten into the whole goth thing, and he had black fingernails and goth and all this stuff. Well, he ends up going to a discipleship walk for young people. And of course, he looked different than most everybody there. But this guy in his 40s was head of his particular group. And rather than judge him or make him feel unwelcome, he says to the young man with the black fingernails, "Hey, do you think that you would be willing to paint my fingernails black?" And that was the beginning of a turnaround for that young man because of that connection. You know, I just think we need to be more like that and be willing to do what it takes to connect with people that maybe are struggling. Maybe they don't look exactly like we do, talk like we do, but inside there is a heart that is waiting for connection. And I was just, once I heard that story, I didn't need to hear any more of the message. It really is powerful. And that's the way we feel here. There's no shame here. We've all had our own struggles. We've all been in difficult situations. And we want to help you with that. And we'll do it here on the phone, 1-800-229-3000. We've got a great conference coming up called 12 Steps to Happier. Dave and I are going to be doing that along with the other people of the New Life team. It's all about life recovery. And it's all about finding a pretty good amount of happiness in this life and then, eternal happiness in the next. A lot of happiness there. And if you want to know about that conference, you just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll tell you all about it. All right, 1-800-229-3000. Really glad you're with us here today. We would love to have you call us, 1-800-229-3000. We'll be in the studio for 2 hours and hope that this is going to be a great day for you, whatever you're doing, whatever you're up to. We want to be there for you whenever you need us. And that phone number is our 800 number, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And anybody can call anytime because we're there for you. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come right back for more of New Life Live.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Columbus, Ohio, October 25th to the 27th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship, and then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or go to newlife.com.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here with Dr. Dave Stoop, Dr. Jill Hubbard, and a donation of any amount will send you this wonderful 365-day devotional, Take Your Life Back Day by Day. Dave Stoop and I put that together. It is an amazing, it's really the best devotional I've been a part of. Every day's got a scripture verse, a little devotional thought, 2 questions to ask yourself, and a question to ask God. I think you'll like it. It's just our way of saying thanks for supporting what we do. And what we do is we answer the radio line at 1-800-229-3000. And I'm going to talk to Jenny right now. She's calling from Fishers, Indiana. One of my neighbors, I'm sure. Hi, Jenny. Welcome to New Life Live. How you doing?
Indeed. I'm well. Thank you so much for taking my call. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
And I'm calling because I'm coming up on a 10-year anniversary of some significant events in my life, and usually as that date approaches, I kind of reflect and think about things that happened, but something about the 10-year mark, I can't believe these things happened 10 years ago, is really weighing me down, and I'm having a hard time thinking about those things and acknowledging those things, and then kind of moving on from those thoughts. I get pretty stuck in my head and sad about thinking about what happened. So,
okay. Well, what was it that happened?
My brother committed suicide. 5 weeks later, I had to file for legal separation, which ended in a divorce from my husband. And then 2 weeks later, I was fired from a job that I loved, that I had for 11 years, because they felt I needed to be at home on my knees praying for what the other things that had happened in my life, under the guise of Matthew 18, which they certainly did not do that. And that was probably, as strange as it sounds, the hardest thing, because it was a small business that was thinking they were counseling and helping me, and then they just kind of left me high and dry after that. And
that is so sad.
I've moved through that, but it's again 10 years. I can't believe that's been that long.
Yeah, wow. Well, let's start with you, Jill. What do you think?
That's a lot of loss happening all at one time, and really, you know, unusual things, right? Those aren't everyday things to have someone so close to you commit suicide. I mean, that alone, right, would bring up an anniversary response. And I think we do have anniversary responses, you know, when the year mark comes around, or significant times. Like you're saying, a decade seems like a long time. And part of getting through these types of losses is that, you know, it's not like we get through it and it's like it never happened. They impact our lives forever. And so we don't just get around them or dismiss them or erase them, but like you said, we get through them. And so I think to look at the anniversary time is a time of reflection, a time to see how far you've come in 10 years. And to also say, okay, there was, like the relationship certainly with your brother, that was very meaningful. Or it's significant to have been married to someone and now to not be married to them. And maybe to use this as a time to evaluate your life and where you want to be in the next 10 years. To kind of compare and to see, yes, that you've survived in spite of life being so difficult, and finding those things to be grateful for in the midst of tragedy.
I think I think of James' word in chapter 1, verse 2, where he says, "Consider it all joy when bad things happen." And that we don't
really
rejoice
hard.
in the bad things.
No.
We rejoice in the opportunity to understand more of who God is and how he loves us and how he's with us. Gary Smalley used to say that whenever trouble came his way, he'd say, "Whoopee, God's going to teach me something new." And I think part of your reflection and the 10-year anniversary is to focus on what God has taught you in these 10 years. And how you have grown spiritually and in understanding and accepting what life has brought to you.
I'm a bit far away from the like Gary Smalley is able to do with the whoopee.
Yeah, that's kind of unusual.
No.
and I don't think we should feel bad if we're not at that place. That would take time and patience and a lot of healing. And in addition to you trying to look at the fact that you have survived and you have been blessed and that it wasn't the end of the world, I think you
was,
really
but
sorry
it was then, right?
But life has gone on, and in addition to being grateful for all that, and I think you just really do need to give yourself permission to experience some grief as you look back on it 10 years later. Here's the thing. If you've done some healing and that healing has been appropriate and meaningful and helpful, then you're not going to still be experiencing it today like you did 10 years ago. But if you do, if it almost feels like it has never gone away, then that would be a sign it's time to get back in and do some more grief work.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, no, you don't want to succumb to debilitating sadness, depression, and grief. But if you find yourself there, do something about it. Do something so that you're never, ever back there again.
Because I think, when we are going through something, we do as much as we can at that time, if we're willing, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that as time goes on, there aren't maybe some new pockets or things that we need to explore a little further, because now you've got a little distance from it, and maybe you can tolerate looking at a little bit more.
It's an ongoing process.
Yep. All right. So I hope that is helpful to you, and I'm glad that you called. And we're always available to try to find a counselor to help you if you want to do some additional work like that. I'm going to send you Healing as a Choice. I think that will be of help to you as you go through this, because one of those choices that we make is to be sure that the process of grief is all complete. And it will help you to make sure it is complete. All right, 1-800-229-3000 to join us on the program. Maybe you are struggling and you're thinking, "Wow, I have succumbed. I have just sunk so far down into depression." Or somebody that does. We've got some great resources, and one is understanding and loving a person with depression. You can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we'll tell you about that and our other resources.
And Steve, can I just re-emphasize this idea, though, of anniversary reactions? I mean, if you think about it, when there are tragedies, like in our country and in the news, like a 9/11 event, don't we recognize it? That like there's some kind of, public
commemorative.
Yes, we commemorate things that have been really, really difficult, because there's a pause to reflect and to remember and to not forget, so that we will learn from it and we will grow, and we will also honor those people who are no longer with us. So I think it's an important part of life.
It is, and wouldn't it be foolish if on a 10-year anniversary of a tragedy, everybody acted like it never happened as a nation? Well, that would be really foolish, and it's not good as a human being.
That's kind of the way we react to suicides, especially.
Yeah,
we want to pretend they didn't happen.
All right, Jenny, thanks for calling us. I'm really glad that you did, and I'll get that Healing is a Choice to you. Let's go to Susan, Nashville, Tennessee. She listens on Sirius XM, channel 131. That's on at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Hi, Susan. How are you?
Good. Thank you for taking my call.
Certainly.
I have a question. I've recently been separated for about 4 months now. My husband filed for divorce, which I did not want. He's made it very, very difficult in terms of sitting down at the table and trying to get a settlement. He's put our 26-year-old son in the middle of this situation. The finance, he's put a stranglehold on me financially. He's ruined my credit because he would not make the house payment. And, you know, I want to get through this. I don't want to hold any ill feelings towards him, ill will or anger or bitterness. But as this goes on, it seems like it's a day-to-day thing that I have to deal with some other sort of difficult situation coming from him. And it doesn't have to be this way. And, you know, my group therapy, I'm in a group therapy discussion group. And, you know, the counselors there say, well, acceptance is key. Well, how can you accept? I mean, what am I supposed to accept? I mean, I know I'm trying to accept the situation that I'm in, but, I mean, I don't accept his behavior at all or his lack of responsibility. So, I mean, what is it that I'm supposed to accept, and how am I supposed to move on in a healthy way?
Well, before we answer that, I want to tell you what I have found to be the best prevention tool to being bitter, angry, and resentment over what happens during the divorce. Are you ready?
Yes.
A great attorney. And if you don't have a great attorney, then you're going to, for whatever reason you don't have one, you're going to be walked all over, and you're going to be really upset that you got talked into not finding a great attorney. The great attorney would take care legally all the things that need to be done so that you're taken care of financially. Now, let me ask you this. Did he talk you into not getting a great attorney?
He tried to. I have a great attorney, and he tried to get me to drop my attorney, and he suggested an attorney for me. But I mean,
didn't
it goes
do that.
beyond finance.
Good.
No, I did not do that.
Good for you.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Susan, one of the things I think is to realize that once he's taken this step, you guys are no longer on the same team. That he's not looking at you guys on the same team. And I hear you, and you're saying it doesn't have to be this way. We can go through this in a nice way. But if you could do that, I imagine you wouldn't be getting divorced.
Well,
right? So there are some things about him. And so I think you're right. You don't accept the bad behavior, but you acknowledge who he is and don't expect him to be different than who he has shown you to be.
Well, the other thing too, Jill, is that he's not in his right mind.
Okay.
Because when a guy starts to do what he's doing and how he's treating you and what he's done to you, he's operating out of a distorted, devious mindset that seems to take over some men at midlife, and they do all kinds of stupid stuff, and then eventually some of them wake up and realize how bad they made it, and they do something to make atonement, but that's not guaranteed. But it's guaranteed that he's out of his right mind.
So, when those folks are telling you acceptance is the way to go, well, all right, that's true. In fact, one of the great quotes from the Big Book is from Bill Wilson: acceptance is the answer to all of my problems today. Well, what does that mean? That doesn't mean you just ignore them, but to accept, I may have to forgive, I may have to grieve. But I would say this, you're still in the mode of defending yourself, which you need to do, fighting for what's right, not being a victim. And that's a painful place to be before you can get to that place of let's just accept it. Sounds like to me you're accepting that he's a very mean man and trying to do more harm to you, and you are having to stay alert and be equipped so he doesn't run all over you. When we wink at wrong, it causes trouble, and you're not winking at his wrong.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, Steve Arterburn. We're really glad you're with us here today. If you want to join us in the program, we're another hour and a half. We'll be around at 1-800-229-3000. 1-800-229-3000. And just to reiterate what we were saying there, it's really important, Susan, that you not let him walk all over you. It's a process to get to that place where you're not controlled by bitterness, resentment, anger. It's never instant. Jill, Dave, what are you thinking? In addition to this advice she's getting from the counselor to accept the reality of what's going on, what else is helpful for her?
Well, just to recognize that she's powerless to control the other person, and the other person is not the other person anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And to do what she needs to do. It's like we always say, maybe you keep praying for the miracle, right? That they'll get into their right mind.
But you act as if
But you act in the reality of what is, right?
Yeah.
And so each day, Susan, you just have to keep taking steps moving forward to protect yourself and to do, what is right.
And don't let yourself isolate. Just continue to go through the process of
Yeah, with a lot
being
of support.
with other people,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's uncomfortable and all of that. Just continue to connect with others. I really do believe that prayer does change things.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it changes the person that's saying the prayer from, fighting what's happening to just doing appropriate things and not denying what's happening, but appropriately accepting it and doing the things that make for a better future and not a worse future. But we're so sorry that you're having to go through this.
Mm-hmm.
If we had stayed in that garden, you wouldn't have to be. But this is the fallen world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to send you this great little book Dave and I did, Take Your Life Back. And I'll send you Jill's book, The Secrets Women Keep. And I hope that both of those are going to be helpful to you. And we collectively wish you weren't having to go through this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really sorry that you are. All right, let's go to Karen. She's calling from Dallas, Texas. Great station, KWRD. Hello, Karen. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, what's going on?
So, my boyfriend of a year and a half, a week ago, had his best friend of 49 years suddenly died. It was very unpleasant. He found him dead in his house. Very shocking. I was there that night trying to console, help out. The funeral was a week later. I didn't know the gentleman. I had met him but didn't know him. But I called to explain that I was going to a family event that I had instead of the funeral. And then the next day after the funeral, I got a text. And I'm blamed for not supporting and choosing to go to a pool party instead of being at the funeral to support. And I was like praying for my boyfriend all week, night and day. Sent him a text midweek saying, if you need something, please come by. Well, I don't know how to respond to this. Am I being insensitive? I don't.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm wondering why you didn't go. Like, what was your thinking in that?
Yes. He had said that it was going to be a brief service, and after the service, the burial site was quite some distance away, and probably for me, wouldn't want to do that. And I didn't know the individual, and I didn't go. I didn't know the family. I didn't know anyone.
Right.
Maybe a poor choice on my part.
Well, I guess it kind of depends on the level of relationship, and, it seems like maybe at the very least there should have just been a discussion about it with him.
I did.
Okay.
I called him and talked to him about not going, and he said it was completely up to me and was my decision.
Oh, okay. So you
and
did
then
check
I
it out
got
with him.
blamed for not going.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you may have got some interesting new information about your boyfriend as to how he communicates and how he expects certain things done without being said.
Yeah, I thought about that, and I even asked him about that. So I would have been there if you would have told me when we were talking about it. If I would have known that you needed that support, of course I would have gone. And he said, I wanted someone that would be there without being asked.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you,
that's a trap.
Yeah.
I think the answer for that boyfriend,
it's like a test.
or maybe I should say the answer perhaps to that boy non-friend would be, I wish that you had told me it would mean a lot to you for me to go, rather than not express it at the time. Because if you had said to me, it would really mean a lot to me, even though you didn't know him, for you to be there, I would have been there. And given his response and not really talking it through with you, in the long run, while this is sad and unfortunate, I think this might actually end up being quite a gift to you. As Dave said, you have some new information.
God pulled me out of the gutter of my life that I was living in.
I have done a lot of work over the last 40 years. This is the first time I've ever felt love.
I've had such a wonderful weekend here, and for the first time in a long time, I've felt at home.
And the Lord has set me free from my mother's story about me not being good enough.
The New Life Finding Freedom Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, September 20th to the 22nd.
We're going to talk about forgiveness and codependency. We're going to understand that family of origin, the unhealthy reactions to it. We're going to talk about the cycle of shame and surrender and developing the plan that moves us forward. There'll be 8 teaching sessions and 6 small group sessions.
To register or to learn more about the Finding Freedom Workshop, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
I am living a new life, and I believe that I have the resources and tools to continue that.
Last year, after Every Man's Battle, I was so moved by the transformation that I saw not only in myself, but in the guys in our small group and the other people that were there and the stories that I heard, that I decided to go ahead and join Club New Life as a contributor to that.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
You guys are doing God's work here. You're restoring marriages. You're giving people hope. It's just been such a blessing to me, and I just wanted to encourage you all. When you see something good that God's doing, just jump on that and help support that.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433.
Give your support to them if you can, and just help them do what God's doing here in the world.
Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. Glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, Dr. Dave Stoop, Dr. Jill Hubbard. We're just finishing up here with Karen, and some final thoughts for Karen, Jill, and how she should go forward with this.
Well, Karen, okay, we're looking at the problem kind of from both sides. And since you're calling, even though your part we think is much smaller, still to just say, I think the way that you approached it could have been done differently. Instead of kind of approaching it from the negative point of, do you need me to go? Or I forget exactly what she said now. That is it okay if I don't go?
If I don't go.
Right. Asking him more directly, what do you need? I'm willing to go if you need me there. However, I have this other opportunity as well, but you are my first priority. So I think, having a discussion like that, or just really looking at, we don't know where the state of the relationship is, but you go to a service, not whether you knew the person who died, but for the people that are living. And so for people that are close to you, you go to support them. So I think, just some awareness on your part that means a lot to people. Now, his expectation that you just should have known, and, his hurt in that, he had to tell you, and so he misled
very childish.
you. Yes, it is. And it's like he's testing your love. And that's really unfair to do to someone. That's not very adult. So adults have to ask for what they want and can't expect the magic of people just knowing.
Okay. So I think we're in agreement that his reaction to you really tells you this might not be the healthiest long-term relationship that you could get into, and so you'd want to evaluate that. And
you were a little taken back by his reaction, and that, like, apologize for your insensitivity, and not knowing that he needed that, but that in moving forward, I think, Steve, you said this earlier, that you need him to be more direct about his needs, because there's no way for you to read anyone's mind or be able to meet his needs perfectly. And is he willing to look at that? And, like giving him the grace that he was just grief-stricken, but that moving forward, you need more direct communication, if there is a moving forward.
That grace thing really is quite...
Does that make sense?
Yes, because there was one other time when he took me wrong and he completely shut down, wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't look at me or anything.
Wow.
And I thought, oh my gosh, is this a pattern?
Yep.
I don't know.
It sounds like it.
Could be.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it is.
Thank
and
you
we're
for
sorry.
your help today.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're happy to help and really sorry. And I'll send you a copy of Is This the One? It's got some great things in there on finding out that, well, maybe we're kind of thinking he is not. Speaking of Is This the One? Larry is the one. Larry, I have missed having you come into the studio and me trying to figure out how to position that. So welcome to our new studio here, and tell us about what's happened since I have been away. I don't know. I mean, are we doing okay? We still making payroll?
Yeah, we are.
It might not be funny.
Yeah. There have been months where it wasn't. July ended really strong. We had a great matching gift response. We overmatched by about a little over 50,000.
That's wonderful.
We've talked to some folks. We have 35,000 of that matched. So it was really been good. August now is a different animal. I think people are taking a big sigh. I think they're getting their kids back to school and finishing up vacations. I like to think all that. Because it's slowed down, and we're changing our voice to encouraging people to sign up for Club New Life. And I want to tell people why, and then we'll talk about the benefits and such. We got a letter from a lady. I was actually just to Reba in our call center, and this lady found our program on radio kind of by accident. She really liked it, and then when her husband needed Every Man's Battle, she knew exactly what to do, she said, and she was very grateful. So she got him to go to Every Man's Battle, and here's what she says. When he returned and confessed to something that I could never have imagined, I was overcome with compassion for him that I know came from the Lord. I feel like a new person, and he looks like a weight has been lifted off his shoulders. Wow. I know that he has a lot of work to do. I'm so thankful that he's continually in touch with the other men he met that weekend who are fighting the same battle. I feel like our marriage has been healed by the Lord through New Life Ministries. God bless Steve, Mylan, Jill, Sherry, and everyone at the ministry. Last thing is, I'd like to join Club New Life. And she committed to joining, and she's in touch with Reba, and that's why we ask you folks to please support New Life. Look what it did to that one family that will go generationally down and all around their influence right now. It makes a difference.
Well, that's why we love getting to do this, because we see not people getting in a better mood. We see transformation here. And, if there's any way that you can help us in that process, please call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now, Larry, if somebody signs up for Club New Life, what...
They get the best of the best. There are 8 books written by our radio co-host and you, Steve. Healing is a Choice, Changes That Heal, Boundaries, Forgiving What You Never Forget, How We Love, Secrets Women Keep, Every Man's Battle, Intimate Deception. $129 if you buy them retail. $30 gift your first month. Those 8 books are on their way to you.
Yeah. So, well, it's just our way of saying thank you, and we can't do it without you. And so if you're able to help us, you really do get a great little library of the best books that we've been able to develop here. And you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and just let us know you want to be part of the solution. We'll be so grateful for that. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Two last things. On top of the books, they get access to a video library that's only available for Club New Life members. And I'm appealing to get at least 6 people every day. So I'm asking if you'd be one of the 6. You maybe have been given for years off and on and never joined. Please join. This might be the first time you're listening to the radio. Please join. We need your help. And thank you, everybody who has helped us with their support this summer.
Yeah, it's been a great summer. Let's don't let it slip away from us. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, whether it's a one-time gift or being part of Club New Life. It really does make a difference. Thank you, Larry. Appreciate that.
Alrighty.
Let's go to Dennis. He's calling from Springfield, Missouri. Listens on Sirius XM. Hey, Dennis, how you doing?
Good afternoon. Yes, thanks for taking my call. I had a comment about the caller Karen that called about her boyfriend's loss.
Yes.
And you the panel kind of agreed with Karen. I feel that the boyfriend was in a moment of grief, and that Karen was very insensitive. I don't imagine his relative planned on dying. I think it was very insensitive for her to worry about going to a pool party in lieu of being there to support him. If she called him her boyfriend, I mean, just for instance, my cousin's husband passed away. I'm going to the funeral tomorrow. I'm giving up a day's pay. Funerals are for the living, not the dead, and we go to show our support and empathy for the ones that are left behind. I think that's almost a no-brainer, and I am really surprised and shocked at your panel that you will worry about the siding with Karen because she got raked over the coals by a text that she was being very insensitive to her boyfriend's emotional loss and grief at the time of his loss. I think it's kind of insensitive of your panel to saying that he should have to ask someone to come to the funeral. I mean, these types of things are a part of life, and you make arrangements. You know, you reschedule your schedule to accommodate for your friends and relatives and things like that to be so supportive to them.
Yeah. Well, I hope you heard everything we said because I'm reminded
of Job's friends. They went to even though Job didn't die. They went and they never said a word, but they were just there for support for 3 days.
Right. Sure. Well, I hope you heard everything we said because we really do agree with a lot of what you're saying there. We were trying to say it to her in a non-shaming way, and but we also, think maybe his reaction could have been a little bit different. But by the same token, we also said, he was struck with grief there. So we said a lot of different things. And
we tried to address both sides, but yes, you are emphasizing a really good point, and we do agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, we'll be back.
She said, we need to talk. She's asked me for the first time if I would consider myself a sex addict. I thought it was just about admitting the things that I had done wrong. I never had a clue that it was about redeeming our story. I thought it was just about coming clean on what I had done. I had no idea how to help her with her pain. She was a mess, I was a mess, and we got divorced. Going to EMB, surrounding myself with these other men, they accepted me for who I was and what I had done, but they challenged me to step up and do better. They'll be around other men who are not just pointing the finger, but willing to get in and wade through it with them, get in the trenches. They'll get hope from this workshop. Take my sweet wife and my story. We were divorced, remarried, and on our way to what I think will be the sweetest years of our lives. It's no longer simply about surviving. For the first time ever, we're thriving, we're enjoying where we're at.
Hey, listen, if you're struggling, we want to see you at the workshop. Give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Glad you're with us here, and really glad that Dennis called and helped us clarify a few things there. Let's, by the way, we're going to be in the studio another hour after this, 1-800-229-3000. I want to talk to Kelly from Los Angeles. KKLA is the great station she listens to. Let's go to her. Kelly, how you doing?
Hi. My question is about child therapy. I have a 4-year-old son. He just turned 4 this last month, at the end of the month. And he was molested by my brother's daughter, who's about 6. So I have an appointment on tomorrow, actually, to see a child therapist. I told her what happened, and she wants me to come in by myself and talk to her about it first, and then have my son come in the next visit. But I'm nervous because I don't know what to expect. Like, is there going to be anything I need to prepare myself for regarding my brother's family, because it was with his daughter? Or will it just be involving me and my son?
Well, it doesn't. It has a lot to do with actually what happened, and if there were any other adults involved, or if there was negligence. All of those things are questions that you kind of have to sit down and with the counselor and get the details, the facts that are there. I can't really promise you that anything is possible. It just depends on the therapist's opinion and the things that happen. Dave, what do you think here?
Well, I think that the therapist isn't going to do talk therapy with your 4-year-old. They'll do play therapy, where they're trained to observe things that go on. The counselor wants to get the details from you as to what you're aware of. And I think that's the extent of it. It depends on what she hears. I would just be honest and share whatever you know and see what happens. But it's serious and it's not serious.
Well, here's the thing. It's between 2 young children. So in that, children explore. And they have a curiosity. So again, it's like looking at the details. The first thing, Kelly, like you're saying, Dave, is that the therapist is just going to talk to you. So you're going to learn a lot in that first session about how things will proceed. The thing that would be alarming to me would be, is there anything that's happened to the 6-year-old that she was acting out with your son?
That's right.
And is there, so that, Steve, you were kind of alluding to that, right? That if there was an adult that was involved with your niece, well, then you would want to protect her. But it's a step-by-step process, and the therapist will tell you all the steps so that there isn't any surprises.
Yeah, there's nobody's going to sneak up on you.
I guess my concern was that when I had found them, it was with my mother, and I think that they would freak out to even think that I would take my son to a therapist regarding what happened. Okay. They think that's forbidden But I think the only reason I want to...
we applaud you.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Now let's talk about this for a minute. The feelings that they have are not the priority here, right? The adults,
right.
The family members. Your feelings are not the priority here. The priority is a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And the greater concern is actually over the 6-year-old than the 4-year-old. It isn't, 6-year-olds do things that, like Jill said, they explore and stuff. But you have to wonder where it came from. That's what the therapist is going to be talking about. And so, of course, if they thought therapists weren't a good idea, especially are they not going to think it's a good idea if they're more concerned about their safety and comfort and all of that versus the bigger picture and the greater good. And that's where you're going to have to be focused. And so that this, if there is something that led to this, it never ever happens again to anybody else. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
It's hard.
The thing that I chose to contact a therapist for my son is because I've seen a big difference in him afterwards.
Yeah.
The way he was behaving was really withdrawn and really totally different than how he really always is. So I knew
then you're being a wise parent.
You sure are.
Yeah.
A courageous and wise and diligent parent. And don't let anybody, for any reason, in any way, talk you out of what you're doing. You're doing the right thing.
And it doesn't make your niece an evil person.
No.
Something happened to her probably that made her
she's
curious.
Seen something, or there's something
that
was the catalyst.
And that's going to be what the counselor's trying to understand.
That's right. Okay. I'm so glad that you called. And I want to send you, well, I don't really know what to send you that might be
what about,
best.
I was going to say purposeful parenting.
We can send that. A little parenting book. I think that'll help you.
It doesn't touch on the abuse stuff,
and,
but it's for wise parents.
And I can send How We Love Our Kids. That's a great book on connecting. Really glad that you called. If you need some help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. None of us think that things like this are going to happen. It's not plan A when things like this happen, but when they do, it's up to each of us to rise to the occasion and do the brave thing. A lot of folks, just like her, you've got people around you saying, oh, why would you need a therapist? Why would you need a counselor for whatever you're going through? Well, there are a lot of very, very smart people, strong people, wise people that believe a really great Christian counselor can be the answer to a whole new way of life. And a lot of people have committed their whole lives to being as wise as possible in the counsel that they give. And we know those people, and you can know one by calling us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's what we'd like to see you do. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And we'll try to find the help that you need. Now, a few things are coming up. Every Man's Battle is now coming up September the 13th in Houston, Texas. October the 4th, it's in Washington, D.C. Our Finding Freedom workshop, where whatever you're struggling with, guilt, shame, depression, you've been through a divorce, there's been a death, it's hard for you to overcome, whatever it is, Finding Freedom helps you move beyond. 12 Steps to Happier is our October 5th, Irvine, California, Life Recovery annual event. And then the astounding Intimacy in Marriage weekend with Mylan and Kay Yurkovich, October the 25th, Columbus, Ohio, right in smack dab in the middle of the country. And then Restore, Hope for a Woman's Heart, November the 15th. If you have been involved with somebody with a sexual integrity problem, that's the one for you. It's Restore, and it is powerful. Everything we do here is supported by somebody else. We can't do it on our own. We have to have you as a partner. Please call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Let us help you, or you help us. And one of the really wonderful things that's going to take place here is next year, September 28th, 2020, we're going to go on a river cruise in Europe. This is one of our New Life trips. We've never done this before, and you can find out about it at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, but it's going to fill up very fast. It's one of the most fantastic trips together we will ever take. If you want to join us on the program right now, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, our website, newlife.com, the phone number, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Thanks for
See
listening.
you next time.
We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.